Welcome back, snow lovers. I'm bringing you this week's report from Pila in Aosta. Can you tell I'm in Italy? The good news is that they've extended their season here by an extra 2 weeks, so they're now open until the 3rd of May, thanks to the still great snow cover. Which is brilliant. If only more ski areas would be as proactive as this and react to the snow conditions on the ground, and if there's still good snow, keep open. Because unfortunately, the vast majority of ski areas in the Alps have now closed, even though many of them were still able to offer top to bottom sliding up to the very last day of their seasons, which is quite frankly criminal really in my book, that all these ski areas are closing when they still have absolutely fantastic snow cover. With the snow in Europe as unreliable as it is these days, alpine ski resorts need to be able to offer skiing when there is actually snow. They've all really shot themselves in the foot this season. It's kind of a chicken and egg situation. They're closing because they haven't got any customers. They haven't got any customers because they're all closing early. So yeah, it's tough, but the only way you're going to encourage people to come skiing at this time of year is if ski areas show a willingness to be proactive and react to snow conditions on the ground. And thankfully for me, that's exactly what they've done here in Pila today. A weak weather front came down from the northwest and crossed the Alps through Sunday night and into Monday, but it rather fragmented as it was crossing the Alps, so it didn't bring a huge amount of snow to the northwestern portion of the Alps, which is what you would usually expect from a front coming down from the northwest. In Chamonix, around 2,200 metres, so mid-mountain elevation, we only got 2 or 3 centimetres of snow, so really nothing to write home about. Up on the Guide du Midi, 3,700 metres plus, there's a maximum of 10 centimetres, so yeah, not much at all. But as the front fragmented, it then turned into a small area of low pressure over northern Italy, something which has happened several times this season, establishing a Retro d'Est scenario yet again, bringing the snow back into the Italian margin of the Alps. So in theory at least, there was a lot more snow on this side of the Alpine Divide. So in theory, the Gran Paradiso region, which I'm on the edge over here right now, and the MonteRosa Massif should have received quite a bit more snow than over in Chamonix. Although I will admit, I'm up 2,700 metres here, which is the top lift in Pila. I can't see a huge amount of evidence for the snow that fell. There has been some up here, but the rain snow limit must have been pretty high on this side of the mountains, because the tree line comes up to about 2,300 metres and the trees are all completely bare. And yeah, like I say, even up here, there's only a relatively small amount of snow. So the forecasts were predicting around about 20 centimetres. Definitely doesn't look like there's 20 centimetres right here. But I'll be heading up into the MonteRosa tomorrow, so we shall see if the forecasts were any more accurate up there, where they're predicting probably 40 to 50 centimetres of snow on the higher slopes there, so kind of above 3,000 metres. And I'm heading up to, well, the tops of the MonteRosa, so 4,500, so fingers crossed they got some good snow up there. These off-piste conditions are not fun. I think I'm sticking mostly to the piste today, despite the fact that I brought my gear with me. It's kind of the opposite of dust on crust, it's crust on slush. So the fresh snow from a couple of days ago, that's got a sun crust, so that's refrozen, but it's also insulated the snow underneath, which was slush, and then hasn't refrozen. So you're breaking through the crust of the fresh snow into the soft slush underneath, so it's really difficult to ski. You just get your tails stuck constantly in deep rivets, so yeah. Definitely hoping for something a bit better than this tomorrow. The freezing levels were forecast to be dropping to around about 2,200 metres, maybe even as low as 2,000 metres during the storm. So in theory, it should have brought some snow to here, but it definitely feels a lot warmer than that. And yeah, today they're getting up towards 2,500, 600, maybe even 2,800 again. So yeah, even if there was temporarily a freeze, it wasn't really long enough to properly transform the snow. Pila can be accessed directly from the city centre in Aosta. The car park for the gondola is literally on the edge of the old Roman city walls, which is pretty damn cool. Also makes it super convenient to access by both car, road and rail, or bus, whatever as well. So it's a really easy ski area to get to. And the gondola base station, which is about 500 metres above sea level, whisks you all the way up to the resort of Pila at 1,800 metres via a couple of intermediate mid-stations. There are a few runs below the resort of Pila itself, down to one of the mid-stations at 1,500 metres. Naturally, they are all broken this time of year, they've been closed for a while, but virtually all the runs above Pila upwards are still open, are still complete. Sure, especially on the lower runs, there are now quite a few muddy patches, but the runs here are wide, so it really doesn't matter. And it's skiing, it's late season skiing. I'll take what I can get. I've skied a lot worse than this in January, so I'm pretty happy to still be out on the piste, to be honest. It's a pretty big ski area as well. Even at this time of year, there's still plenty to keep me occupied for a day. And it's a pretty long ski day here as well. The first lift up is at 8:25, not that I was here that early. And the last lift down again, I believe, is 5:30. I should probably double check that. You do not want to get stuck up here, it's a long way back down. My lift pass today only cost me 38 euros. Since Monday, it's now off season for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So for the amount of skiing that's still available, that's an absolute bargain. The lower runs in particular are of course getting very soft, even by early afternoon. But yes, it's soft, but it's not sticky, it's still pleasant to ski. It's still slick, it's still fast, it's just very soft. This gondola here is brand spanking new. I came to Pila 2 years ago and they hadn't even started constructing this yet, so it presumably opened for this season. And the beauty of it is twofold. First of all, it links in directly with the access gondola, so you can get a ride all the way from the centre of Aosta right to the very top at 2,700 metres in one continuous chain. Yeah, you do have to get off and get back on again in the main base station in Pila, but other than that, it's a continuous link from top all the way to the bottom. And the second really cool thing about it is it's got several of these intermediate stations where you don't have to get off. But the beauty of that means that even when the snow is really poor down into the resort, which it is now, like you can see, you can still download on this final section of gondola, or indeed the one slightly higher up, which enables them to be able to keep the ski centre running here for much later in the season. You don't need to be able to ski all the way into Pila village itself to be able to ski here, because you can download on this brand new gondola. This entire top station complex is new as well. There was an old chairlift that came up to somewhere around about here, but from memory there was nothing at the top here, at most maybe a snack hut. So yeah, it's great to see that ski areas are still investing in the infrastructure, not just replacing like for like, but actually building things which are better and making the ski areas more future-proof and enabling them to extend their ski seasons. So yeah, this is really good to see, and I wish more ski areas would follow suit and continue to future-proof their infrastructure. It makes for a stunning viewpoint as well. Somewhere up there is the Gran Paradiso. Not sure what that nice pointy one is, but I think Gran Paradiso is a bit further back in the clouds. If my geography is not failing me, then that must be Konya down there, one of the Alps' premier ice climbing destinations. Obviously not right now, earlier in the winter, but still. Looks like the little ski slopes they got there could actually be quite good fun as well. Last time I came here, it was after a mega dump of snow. I think it had over a metre in the space of 2 or 3 days. In fact, we were 3 days late to the party. Even so, by the time we got here, they still hadn't opened up the top of the mountain yet because the avalanche risk was too high. But you were able to basically hike up this section of the piste from the top of that lift, then just drop into this face down here. So we were just lapping that face all day. It was absolutely mint. Like, you've got loads of small trees over there. It's a beautiful kind of space glade skiing. Indeed, Pila in general is a great place to come if you like glade skiing, because the tree line here is pretty high, certainly compared to the northern side of the margin. Like the main trees thin out around about 2,300 metres. Then above that you've still got loads of dwarf trees, as I say, giving lots of lovely well-spaced glade skiing. The off-piste is finally getting a bit more appealing now that it's not crust on slush, it's just slush. In spite of all the closures, there still are plenty of ski areas which are still open well into May and in some instances beyond. In France, you've got the Grand Montet, which closes on the 3rd of May, as do Teens and Val d'Isère and Val Thorens in the Three Valleys. The Deux Alps winter season finishes on the 3rd of May, but then their spring season starts straight away, runs all the way to the end of May, and then I think their summer season kicks in into June. So the Deux Alps has the longest ski season in France. It runs continuously for I think 8 or 9 months. So there's tons of skiing to be had there if you're in that part of the world. In Italy, obviously you've got here, Pila, open until the 3rd of May, as is Livigno and Cortina in the Dolomites, which is pretty amazing considering how poor of a season the Dolomites have had. And then you have Brill-Cervinia, which again, their winter season finishes the 3rd of May, but then their spring and summer season starts up on the glacier, so they have interrupted skiing right through into the summer as well. In Switzerland, you have Engelberg and Adelboden, which open until the 3rd of May. Then of course there's Zermatt, whose winter season again officially finishes the 3rd of May, but they have year-round skiing there, so again it can just continue straight on into spring and summer season. And finally, just like in autumn, Austria has the most spring skiing available, with Ischgl, Obertauern and Solden open until the 3rd of May. Stubai Glaciers open until the 17th of May, and the Kitzsteinhorn, they're open until the 25th of May. And then of course you have Hintertux, which are open year-round, conditions allowing. And there are no doubt some other smaller resorts which also have extended opening into late April or early May, so there still is plenty of skiing to be had. You just have to look a little bit harder at this time of year. I forgot to mention Verbier, who are open until the 26th of April, but it's not beyond the rounds a possibility that they will extend that by another week if we do happen to get a late season dump of snow. They have done in the past, so that's potentially a possibility as well. Things should continue to heat up over the next few days, with freezing levels rising well above 3,000 metres again towards the end of the week. Then this coming weekend, expecting another weak weather front to come down. It's not going to bring a huge amount of precipitation yet again, just a few flurries, a few flakes of snow here and there. A lot of places may well miss it, but at the very least freezing levels are going to come back down towards where they should be for the time of year again, probably about 2,000 to 2,500 metres for at least a couple of days before they probably rise up again next week. So no sign of any mega snowfalls coming just yet, but it's not too late. The main home run through the middle of the resort is now more mud and water than it is snow. We might try and patch it up again overnight, but it's certainly not going to last more than a couple of days. But as I was saying earlier, it really doesn't matter, because you can just download from that intermediate station for the gondola there. So that was Pila, up there. Hopefully tomorrow I'll bring you a little bit of information from the MonteRosa ski area, although it's all really for future reference because it closes this Sunday, so you'll have no time to ski there this year, unfortunately. I might also hear something from Andy over at Kitzsteinhorn, so if I do, then I'll share that with you as well. But for now, I'm off to do what the Romans do. Go find some pizza. Ancient Rome is everywhere you look here in Aosta, to the point where you basically just become blasé about it. There's another bit of wall, there's another bit of forum, there's another bit of mosaic. But yeah, it's got some of the best preserved Roman remains outside of Rome, anywhere in Italy. It's hard to imagine anything that we've built still being here in 2,000 years, let alone anything standing as robustly as things like this. MonteRosa ski is spread over 3 valleys: Alagna in Piemonte, Gressoney, where I am now, and Champoluc over the other side. It's got a pretty large footprint, but in terms of actual total runs and piste, it's not that big a ski area. Generally just 1 or 2 pistes up from each valley and over into the next. But its jewel in the crown is the Punta Indren, which is where I'm heading today. It's a bit like the Skyway in Courmayeur. It's a ski lift, but it's not a ski lift. It's more of a tourist installation where you can go skiing. So it's out width of the actual ski area. Everything it accesses is pure backcountry. And more importantly for what I'm doing today, it's the gateway to the MonteRosa Plateau. So you want to do ski mountaineering, or indeed just normal mountaineering, that's the quickest way up. I'm currently in Staffel, which is the highest of the base stations, but it's south facing, so despite being over 1,800 metres, as you can probably tell, there's no snow down here, except for the narrow strips of man-made snow that they've still maintained on the pistes. But hopefully there's still plenty a bit higher up. The MonteRosa Plateau has the highest concentration of official 4,000 metre peaks in the Alps. In theory, if you're quick enough, it's possible to tick off 7 of them in a day from the top of the lift. I've already done 2 of them, so today's plan is to try and do the other 5. And it is largely a tick box exercise. Not the most interesting of summits, but the list exists, so people will tick it. Passo Salati, the high point of this part of the ski area, 2,970 metres. Alagna, down that way, into Piemonte, and Gressone, where I've come from, back down that way, into Aosta. And just to emphasise that you're going outwith of the ski area boundary, the Punta Injun cable car is about a 300 metre walk or skin along there. They had definitely had some pretty decent snowfall here over the weekend. It's hard to tell just how much because it's been cooking in the sun for the last 2 days, everything's transformed. But yeah, you can clearly see there was a half decent dump of powder a couple of days ago at least. There's no time pressure today, as you can still ski all the way down to the valley, just about. So the only determining factor on if I make my goal or not is am I carrying enough food and water. I'm definitely fit enough right now, but regular viewers of my channel will know I always run out of food and water on these kind of big ski mountaineering objectives because you just can't simply carry enough. So you have to stay tuned for the full video in a few days or maybe a couple of weeks to find out how many of the summits, if any, I actually managed to do. The official UIAA list of 4,000 metre peaks in the Alps is completely arbitrary. There are no rules in it at all other than points of interest above 4,000 metres. Consequently, there are very obvious summits which are above 4,000 metres which are not in the list because they're not part of any classic mountaineering or skiing itineraries, such as that up there, Nassau to Liscam, which of course you can climb, but it's a long way off of the main Liscam ridge, and as such you'd be missing out on one half of the ridge if you went up via that. So, and the Liscam Ridge traverse is one of the most iconic routes in the Alps. So conveniently, they push that under the carpet and ignore it. Conversely, there are various random high points on the MonteRosa plateau which are included in the list because they're classic ski touring itineraries, such as that up there, Punta Giordana, which has almost zero prominence. It's not even a top, it's just literally the shoulder of Vincent Pyramid. But it's a very popular ski tour from the top of Punta Injun and the MonteRosa ski area, so it makes the list. This is one of the great vistas of the Alps. You've got the Weisshorn, Zilla Rothorn, Grand Cornier, Den Blanche, and you can just about see the Matterhorn poke around the corner there. And then the icing on the cake, Liscam east and west. Quite probably my favourite alpine route and one of the coolest mountain chains in the Alps.